What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Phase 6, your source for music, business, motivation, and support. It's your boy, Sirr Love. I'm getting ready to talk about a topic that if you're in the business and getting money, you already know what this is. But if you still haven't crossed that threshold, you're trying to figure it out. We're going to talk about points. People are like, points? What do you mean points? There's this concept, this thing called points within the industry that can get you a lot of money, or you're missing out on money because you're not negotiating points. So let's talk about points, what they are, how they affect you. Let's do it. Okay guys, so what are points? Let's keep this very simple. This is going to be very clean. This is something that I want to be very diligent and exact about. Points are simply a percentage of whatever amount that you're negotiating with whomever you're negotiating with. So 1 point is 1%. In the industry, points are normally associated with how much you can make off of the sales, and today that's stream, the revenue of a particular record. All right. So previous times, a artist, a producer, a songwriter, an executive, or whoever would negotiate points on a particular album in exchange for the work that they did, right? A business person would look at it like a commission. Like if you do sales, you get a commission check for doing a great job. And A&R gets points on an album that motivates the A&R to do an amazing job on the album, because the better the album does, the more they get paid out through the form of points, which is like a commission. Not only executives and A&Rs and such are entitled to points, you also have artists, producers, and songwriters. So I'm going to break down all these different categories, all 7 people that traditionally are involved in getting points. We're going to go through it rather quickly, but we're going to talk about it so that you can understand what points are. Okay? Number 1, the artists. Artists are entitled to points. Traditionally, this is known as an artist royalty. An artist royalty and points are the exact same thing, 2 different languages that will be spoken about in 2 different settings, all right? Depending on the context of the situation, you'll talk about artist royalties, but it's the exact same thing as saying points if you're in a different scenario. Not going to break down the scenarios, just understand they're the exact same thing. Traditionally, an artist, you know what? I'm not even going to go through and break down what you're supposed to get. I'm going to do a whole nother video and break that down. Right now, let's just talk about what points are. So for an artist, you are entitled to points off of an album or points off of a song. There's 2 ways that points are going to be derived. Like I just said, the album or the song. You can get points on both. You can get points on one or the other. All right. But points, this is the general concept. Artists get them in the form of artist royalties. Producers also get points. A lot of times, great producers can charge extremely high rates per track. So for a label, even if you're an indie label, you're trying to work with a producer or a major label, you may say, hey, I'm not willing to pay you X amount of dollars per track because we want you to produce this whole album and you're talking about 10 songs. We don't want to pay you that. So instead, what we'll do is we'll get a discount on the fee that we're being charged to work with you as a producer in exchange for giving you points on the album. If the producer believes in the artist, which they must believe in the artist, because there's no reason a producer would do a whole album without believing in the artist. If you believe in the artist, take these points in exchange, and you know that the project is going to be amazing. You'll probably make more money off of having points than you will off of the fee that we were going to pay you or the advance that we were going to pay you on the record. Recognize I did another video on fees versus advances, 2 different things. Watch that video to understand that. So producers commonly get points on either the album or songs, depending on their, activity in the particular project. Number 3, songwriters. Songwriters, please understand and respect that it's important for you guys to chase after your points as well. All right. You're doing work on the record. A lot of times songwriters don't get paid at all up front. Producers are getting fees and advances and different things and different incentives to work on a particular project. A lot of times artists are working with producers. The producer sends the beat and the producer gets, all the perks of working with whoever, because they're presenting your work without you even being there. You're not involved in the process a lot of times. And when you are involved, there are writing camps and different things of that nature. All those things do happen. But, outside of that, a lot of times writers don't get the credit that they need. And if you're a writer, you understand this. Producers online right now are selling beats hand over fist. $30, $100, $1,000, $500, whatever they're selling their beats for. And they're independent and no one knows who they are. Larger producers, $50,000, $20,000, whatever they're selling their beats for, right? But at the same time, songwriters are not getting the same love until they get to some huge platform. So it's very important for you to negotiate yourself having points on the song or the album, depending on how involved you are with the particular project. Next, engineers, which is number 4. The engineers are now in the game of getting points. It makes sense. Engineers are doing more work than artists are these days. Now, these days, artists get on the track and go, ooh. See how horrible that sounds? How horrible that sounded? The right engineer will make me sound like Patti LaBelle, right? Because of that, engineers are getting points. The sound design aspect of and the abilities that they're bringing to the stage and to the record are allowing them to negotiate points. If you want me to sit here for hours and tune your voice and make you sound perfect and do your harmonies, copy your voice and extrapolate harmonies and make it somehow different because you couldn't do it yourself. You want me to even all this stuff out and everything else associated with engineering and sound design. You want me to do all that? You got to give me some points on the project because I am just as beneficial to the record as the producer is. Without me, this record sounds like crap. A lot of times, engineers are even going in and touching up the beat. They're taking kicks out, putting new kicks in, changing basses, doing drops and verifies and cutting parts out the song and rearranging the track itself to fit the record. Engineers are doing more work now than they've ever done in the past. It's not just mixing and mastering anymore. It's full arrangement and tuning of songs. Because of that, they're getting points. If you're doing all that as a engineer, you should be getting points. You should be talking about points for your songs. All right. Next, the business people that are involved. I already talked about this a little bit. A&Rs. A&Rs are incentivized to do what they can do for the project. Remember, the A&R is the individual that is tasked with doing whatever it takes to make your project a success. That includes everything from finding songwriters to producers to organizing studio sessions to talking to the marketing department, talking to the PR department. They are your personal liaison within the label. They are like your manager, marketer from the label side that does everything internally to make sure that your record is a success. If they're sitting there being lazy and not negotiating and networking with the publicist to make sure that your project is getting attention, then your project isn't going to sell. So they're giving points to incentivize them to get off their ass and do their job, right? And as an A&R, you should be getting points. For A&Rs, they already know this. They live in this space. Executives are also getting points. Why? Because executives and they a lot of times can do what they want to do. A lot of people may owe them favors or whatever is involved with that. But a lot of times executives are cutting the checks and making things happen. They're the ones taking the risk. They're the ones taking the gamble. So a lot of times they're being able to negotiate points for themselves as well. So that concludes everybody that's involved in points. Now recognize that you can give points out to whoever you want. You can give points literally to a family member. You can give points to a bum on the street. Like you can give points to whoever you want to give points to if you have those points. We're going to talk about negotiating points and what you can do with points and how to leverage your points in the next video. But recognize that points are a percentage on the total album sales or revenue stream. Whatever the money is coming from is a percentage of money that is coming in. And in different situations, it could be net or it can be gross, or it just kind of depends on where those points get pulled from. There are some standard practices, but we're going to talk about how you can negotiate your points and put yourself in a position to win in the next video. So make sure you go to www.phasevi.com because right now there are a lot of exciting things happening on phasevi.com. There's a lot of info packs, there's downloads. You should subscribe and become a member. Beam in because because there's so many videos that we're dropping on there that are not even available in this particular space. There's a lot of great information that you guys are not getting and will never get until you join that community. So go ahead, beam in, become a Phase 6 member, rock out with us, subscribe to YouTube. If you don't want to do that, continue getting free information. There's no pressure on our end. Stay on YouTube, get some free information. We do this because we want to help people win, right? And it's important that you understand what points are and how they can affect your career going forward. So I don't know everything, but I know a lot about a little and a little bit about a lot. And I'm always trying to give you guys everything that I got right here on Phase 6. I appreciate your time. Text me, email me, reach out. Let me know if I can help. I'm out.